Hello everyone. Well, I'm finally making the video that I promised I would make. I want to say a huge thank you first of all to each and every one of you, not only for having been nice enough to watch my YouTube videos, but also for having joined my music page, Michael Sands Music. Your support is what drives me to record, and it's just a wonderful feeling knowing that people have enjoyed the videos that I've made and are still enjoying the music, which was so popular years ago. This video is in response to a viewer's request. They asked me if I would agree to do this interview because lots of people ask me many questions and I sometimes get back to them, sometimes I'm busy and I don't have time. So this seemed a really good way of answering the questions that people ask me about. So I will try to do you proud and answer the best I can. And here goes. So question number one is, what was your biggest influence musically growing up and how has that influenced your playing as an adult? My biggest influence when I was young was Mrs. Mills, because my grandparents had an LP of Mrs. Mills that I used to listen to when I was a child. And it was the first time I'd heard anybody play the piano in that way. And it was amazing to me. It was amazing because it was full of energy and excitement and was so different to the piano studies that I had had until that time. So my biggest musical influence I would have to credit as being Mrs. Mills. And then later on, my other grandmother suggested that I listen to Winifred Atwell, and that really shaped my music in a totally different direction because it brought into play things like ragtime and some of the jazz classics. And so I think I credit those two artists as my biggest musical influence. And they still are today in many respects. Question number two. Are you going to record some of your ragtimes on your new piano? The answer is I don't know. I think my new piano won't obviously have quite the same sound that my old piano did, and rags are better played on an older instrument. That said, I would quite like to give the Kauai a go and see how well it performs. So I would say that yes, I do plan to record a ragtime piece on my new piano, but it probably will be only the one. But I will keep you posted, so keep an eye out on this page. Question three is, why have you not recorded other Winifred Atwell classics, such as Coronation Rag and Britannia Rag? This is a question I've been asked by so many of Winifred Atwell's fans, and the simple answer to that is that I actually don't like those pieces of music. I mean, I think they're great in the fact that Winifred played them fantastically and indeed composed them, but they aren't my favourites, and therefore I've just never kind of thought about recording them. But who knows? Maybe I will. I do get a lot of requests to play them. So, and actually, I did play Coronation Rag for a show that I was taking part in honour of the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. So, perhaps I will record it. I just don't know. But the simple answer is that they aren't my favourite pieces of music that Winifred Atwell played. The next question is, will you be releasing a CD of your playing? Again, the answer is yes, I will. I had planned to do it before now, but it is extremely expensive and the studio I was going to use actually became unavailable. So I've now got to start the process again. But for me, I'm quite a perfectionist. I want it to be right, and until I reach a stage where I feel that the CD will be as I hope it will be, I probably won't record it. But it is on the way, and I will keep you posted on that. So the next question is, do you ever compose pieces of your own music? Do they exist already, and you just haven't chosen to share them? Yes, I do compose. In actual fact, I will let you into a secret. There's a video floating around on YouTube of me when I was a great deal younger, and somebody recorded an interview of me talking. It was filmed in a church, and the music I'm actually playing in that video is one of my own compositions. So I have actually posted my own pieces of music, but I don't publicise them in any way, because I think it's different when you write something yourself. You are more critical, and I don't feel that it's something I've wanted to do. But I do compose, and I do use my own music in some of my shows. So the next question is it true you were a church organist? And if so, are you still a church organist? Yes, that is very true. I have been a church organist since the age of 13. I don't play quite as regularly as I did, but I do still play regularly. And in my parish church, St Joseph's, I'm one of the organists there. And that suits me well, because it means I'm not committed every week, but I still get to play, and I really enjoy it. As a pianist, playing an organ is completely different. And people wrongly think that they're very much the same instrument, and they're so different. So I'm not a good organist at all, and I'd be the first to say that, but I do still play the church organ. So the next question is, have you ever met any of your YouTube fans? This is a very interesting question, and the answer is yes. Yes, I have. There was somebody who had known Winifred Atwell many years ago who asked to meet me, and I agreed, and it was great because we shared so much enthusiasm for the music and for the wonderful work and legacy that Winifred Atwell left. I don't obviously have an opportunity to meet many of my YouTube viewers, but I certainly have met a couple. And when I was in Paris in December, I met up with another YouTube viewer, which was equally wonderful. And it's always nice to be able to thank people face to face for having watched the videos and shown support. So yes, I do and have met YouTube fans. So question number 8. What do you think of modern pop music, and is there anyone in particular that you listen to? I am so behind the times with pop music. I don't know anything. I don't listen to chart music. I'm not up with anything musical. If I had to say who my favourite modern day artist is, I would say Michael Bublé. I really love Michael Bublé's voice. I think his stage persona is great. I think his style as a performer is wonderful. I love the way he blends the retro with the modern. And I like the fact that although in many ways he is reminiscent of the Rat Pack era, I think he's put a very new, unique twist on it. And I really like that. So at Christmas, you'll always find me listening to Michael Bublé, and if I do listen to anyone newer, it will normally be Michael Bublé. So the next question is, did you have a piano teacher, or are you self-taught? No, I had a piano teacher, and I studied classical piano, which I hated. I don't like playing classical. I'm fully classically trained, but I don't enjoy it at all. So yes, I did have piano lessons, and I can read music. I think the confusion has arisen because when I was learning piano as a child, I couldn't afford the sheet music for the style of music that I wanted to play. And it was technically a little bit advanced to the stage I was at. So to combat that hurdle, I began to play by ear. And so everything you see on YouTube is played by ear. I've never used sheet music because it was a skill that I learnt as a child, because it was kind of a way of playing things that I would otherwise not have been able to play. But I can read music, and I did have piano lessons. Question 10. Is any of your work on iTunes? No, it is not on iTunes, and the reason it isn't on iTunes is because I wouldn't have a clue how to upload music to iTunes. I am the worst person with technology. I can't do anything technical, so I wouldn't have a clue how to put music on iTunes. I'd like it on iTunes, and who knows, maybe it will be eventually, but certainly at the moment there is nothing on iTunes. Number 11, have you ever felt like a part of you lived in the times of the music your style of music was written in? no, no, I have never felt that, ever. I have a huge appreciation for the era that the music I play was written in, but I've never felt that I've been a part of it in some kind of reincarnation way or, or whatever. No, not at all. Number 12. This is an interesting one. What is your favourite food? Um, I think Mexican. I really, really love Mexican food, and I love Italian food. So if I go out to eat, it'll always be one of the two. I really love that. But then I like most food, so hey. Uh, okay, so the next question is, have you ever given piano lessons? No, I haven't. Lots of people have asked me for piano lessons, but I think it's a different skill. My skills don't lie in teaching music. I would be the worst person, and I would be no good teaching at all. So no, I haven't ever given piano lessons. I have thought about it a couple of times, and I would probably try to help somebody if they needed it, but I wouldn't get into having regular lessons because I don't feel that teaching is a skill that I would have. The next question is, what car do I drive? I'm not a petrol head at all. I don't know anything about cars. I drive an old Mini, so it's not exciting. So whoever asked that question, I'm sorry, I can't say that I drive a Mercedes or something, amazing. But no, I drive an old-fashioned Mini. So the next question is, do you have a favourite make of piano, and if so, why? I don't think I do. Each piano has a unique sound, and I think each make of piano offers something different for a style that you're wanting to play. I mean, obviously, most pianists love Steinway because they're known to be the very best in the world. But I have a very soft spot for Yamaha because I was taught on the Yamaha, and I think they're a general all-rounder. And so I think if I had a favourite make, perhaps Yamaha might be it. So the next one. So the next question is, out of all your YouTube videos, which is your favourite, and which is the one that you're most proud of, and why? I don't have any favourite videos. They all have a significance to me as a person, in one way or another. However, the very observant ones among you will notice that only one video is dedicated to somebody. And that is the video called All Kinds of Everything. And that was in tribute to a dear lady who I knew and was very fond of, a friend of mine's mother who passed away sadly. And I recorded that as a tribute to her. And so when you look at the video, you'll see that it begins with a tribute page. And so although it's out of character from the rest of my videos, that one is the one that I am perhaps most proud of because of what it represents for me. So the next question is, you have never referenced your personal life. Tell us more, are you married, etc. I've never referenced my personal life because I suppose I've never thought I needed to. The channel is about my music and not about me. I'm such a boring person, there is nothing to say. No, I'm not married. I'd like to be. I hope I do get married. But no, I'm not married and I don't have children. And there's not really much else I can say to that. Latinos straight to the front of the line. I love Latino colouring and culture, so I would say that if I did get married, I hope it's to a Latino. The next question is, have you ever thought of working on cruise lines? Yes, I have, and I was approached by 2 agents for cruise lines. And I would love to have done that. I would dearly love to have done that because the idea of playing to audiences all year round is amazing to me. But unfortunately, the agents required quite extensive show reels. And I wasn't able to provide them because in order to get the work I needed the agent, but to get the agent I needed to provide the show reels, and it was kind of like a vicious circle that I wasn't able to navigate. So in answer to the question, yes, I very much have considered working for cruise lines, and I would still love to do it, but unfortunately it's unlikely to happen. So the next question is, What happened to your old piano that featured on your YouTube videos, and why did you decide to buy a new piano? I gave my old piano to a university friend of mine who was looking for a piano for her son, and I was delighted to be able to pass it on to somebody who was going to enjoy it as much as I did. The reason I bought a new piano was because, as much as I loved my old piano, it wasn't practical. It was great for the ragtime, but I think what people forget is that I don't just play ragtime. I play a big range of music, and I wanted an instrument that could play everything, that wasn't going to be limited to just, the old saloon bar style piano. So it was a big decision, but I've never regretted it, and I've really loved the fact that I was able to give it to someone who would appreciate it, and that I have a lovely new piano now. So that's what happened to the old one. The next question is it true you have two pianos? And if so, will we see the other piano featured in any of your videos? Yes, it is true. I have two pianos. I have one in a garage, and it belonged to my grandmother. It is my most treasured possession of all, and it won't feature on the YouTube videos for two reasons. Firstly, I can't get to it because it's covered in junk. I have wrapped it in blankets. It's very well looked after, but it's not accessible. And secondly, it's actually a very tiny piano. It's not suitable for playing the music that I play because the keyboard isn't really long enough. So it won't be featuring on any videos. I would consider perhaps giving a demonstration on it, but I won't record any full-length pieces of music. So the next question is, how did you come to appear on the Mrs. Mills documentary, and what was the experience like for you? The BBC wrote to me and told me they were going to make a documentary on Mrs. Mills, and they had seen my work on YouTube and were impressed, and they asked me if I would contribute on the show, which I gladly accepted. It was a dream come true to be able to speak about someone who has inspired me so much. And the experience was wonderful. I got to go to Abbey Road Studios in London. It was the same studios where people like the Beatles recorded, and being able to sit at the piano that Mrs. Mills played and actually play it was just amazing, and it was a fabulous experience for me. And there's not really much else I can say. I just remember that there was so much that I had to do. I had to have a makeup team deal with making sure that my forehead wasn't shiny with sweat and all this kind of weird stuff, and I had to have a microphone pushed down my shirt and the wires everywhere. It was really just something I'd never experienced, but it was great fun, and I'm so glad I did it. And lots of people wrote to me afterwards, and they said how much they'd enjoyed listening to the music of Mrs. Mills again. And I think it was just fabulous because it brought Mrs. Mills back to the public's knowledge. So it was brilliant, a lovely experience. So that brings us on to the last question, the final question. What other hobbies and interests do you have outside of your music? I don't really have many hobbies. I don't play any sport. I don't follow any sports. I do love to travel. I really love travelling. And in actual fact, the question is in two parts, because as well as hobbies, this person has asked whether I've travelled and which countries I've enjoyed seeing. So travelling is my biggest hobby. I have been to quite a few places. For me personally, America is my destination of choice. I love America, and I go as often as I can. My father grew up there, so I often go over to see my family there, and I really, really enjoy it. It's a wonderful place to go. I'm going to Canada in May, which I'm super excited about because Canada is the highest on my list in terms of countries I want to see. It appeals to me in every way. So that will be really, really fantastic, and I'm desperately excited to get to Canada and see the country. So hobbies, really travelling is my main hobby outside of my music. So I guess that would be all I could say on that. So that brings me to the end of this video. I really hope you've enjoyed my answers to the questions you sent in, and my apologies if I haven't said enough on anything. But once again, thank you so much for being viewers. Thank you for supporting my music and watching my videos and being a part of my Facebook community. I hope that you all stay, because I do plan to upload new videos soon on my new piano, and please always feel free to send me feedback or comments on them. It's great to hear from you all, and thank you again.